Hello, and welcome to the Moving Past You radio show. I'm your host, Juanita Gaynor, and this is just a brief nugget of wisdom. Today's discussion, we're going to be talking about don't mistake God's protection for punishment. Isaiah 54:17 in the King James Version reads, "No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord." About a couple of weeks ago, I had posted this actually on my Facebook page, and a lot of people was like, well, they didn't understand it. And the reason I posted it is because I was going through a situation and I thought God's putting me in this waiting season and putting me in the waiting pattern for the answer. I thought it was a punishment. I felt that, I did something wrong. He hadn't given me an answer either way how I should move. And so I really felt it was punishment. When in actuality, he was protecting me. Sometimes God will delay his response on a particular thing you've requested, not because he is not trying to give it to you, but because at the time you ask for it, he doesn't want you to have it right then and there. Because he is trying to clear some things out of the way. He's trying to make some things work, because if he gave it to you right now, it would be detrimental because the situation and the circumstances surrounding it would not foster it to grow. Meaning, he's trying to move things and situations either out of your life, or he is trying to make sure the path is clear so that when he gives you that blessing, you can move forward with it and you can prosper with it without any hindrance. But many times we fall back because we think we have done something so wrong and that he is punishing us and then he is not going to give us that. And sometimes that could be the case, but the majority of the time it is not. Sometimes it's protecting from others, from friends, from family, from enemies, from foes. And sometimes it's a protection from ourselves. Because if he was even to give us some of the things that we've asked for, we're not spiritually and emotionally and psychologically ready to fully fulfill what that purpose is. So he's not sitting there telling us, yes, go ahead and do it and, to set you up to fail. I was doing a devotional and I was telling the listeners and the members of the group that what a lot of us doesn't realize is that when it comes to our purpose and where God has us, we are too big to fail. And when I say too big to fail, let's take a moment to look at the almost financial collapse and think about AIG. And I'm giving this reference because I am an accountant, so forgive me. So when you think about AIG and the government bailout of AIG, a lot of people were upset that they were bailed out, but AIG was too big to fail. Allowing that company to fail would cause a catastrophic, economic devastation internationally, globally. It wasn't just going to affect the U.S. It was going to affect any and everything that touched the U.S., Europe, all of the different countries. So therefore, the option to allow that to fail wasn't an option. Now, people were moved out of the way. New, management was probably brought in, but the company as a whole could not be allowed to fail. And that is what happens when God has given you a purpose and a mission, and he is fostering you and setting you up for success. You are too big to fail. Now, when I say you're too big to fail, it doesn't mean that you can be reckless. It doesn't mean that you can do what you want, when you want, and how you want. You still have to do the things that you need to do. You still have to be in prayer. You still have to be accountable because you have people that are still looking up to you. Because overall, God is going to work with you. I'm telling you, there is no perfect person in the Bible. Every person that he has ever worked with has always been somebody that is flawed, who has had issues, problems, circumstances, trials, tribulations. And with him, working with them and them living through him, he perfected them in the task in which they had to do. Now, did they have, problems along the way? Absolutely. But it was him working with them that perfected that moved that forward, and but still, you can't be reckless. You can't say, I know God has me here and I can still do what I want to do and God's going to look out for me. No, that's not going to always be the case. He's going to look out for you, but his purpose, his plan, his mission is too big to fail. And if you can't fully execute the purpose in which he's given to you, he will move you aside and put somebody else in place to continue to execute the purpose. And so don't get that twisted. But also understand that the purpose that we all have individually, we have it uniquely. We all have a unique purpose in this world. How I affect a group of people may not be the same as someone else affecting a group of people or reaching a group of people. So that is why our purpose and our plans are unique to us. However, the overall purpose, if you don't want to do what you need to do and you want to be reckless and you want to, cause havoc, what he will do is he will amend the purpose so that someone else can come in and move it forward. Because your purpose has to actually happen. It has to come to fruition so that others can move forward in theirs. This is a building block. It's just like a corporation. When you think of the big corporations like, Disney, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Exxon, all of those were building blocks. They had people that started it and it was building block on top of building block. It was learning experience from one learning experience. So when we think about our overall purpose and our overall mission, when we complete one thing, what you're doing is you're opening up someone else's waiting season. And they're waiting to end it so that they can move forward to the next step. And usually always within our lives, and I'm just saying personally for myself, I can come out of one waiting season, fulfill what's needed to happen regarding the blessing and the things he's given that, but I could still be in another waiting season for something else. And so therefore, he is going to keep you in holding patterns until certain things happen. So we have to stop thinking that every time he keeps us in a holding pattern or we have an extended waiting season, it's a punishment. What it is a refining process. It's a protection process. He's making sure that nothing will interfere with the overall purpose and us executing the purpose. So if he doesn't feel that you can move forward and doing the things that you need to do, then hey, he is going to put the brakes and he's going to pump the brakes. He's going to make sure that the coast is clear. He's going to clear the brush. He's going to remove the straggles. He's going to allow the things to fall off. So if you're in a relationship that is not beneficial to what he needs you to be, he's going to pump the brakes on that mansion because he is not going to put you in a situation where it all comes tumbling down and now you all have to start over. That is not how he works. Sometimes the girl ain't for you. The boy ain't for you. Even though that was your best friend, that season has ended. So he is protecting us from the heartache that sometimes we intentionally put ourselves in. And it's not punishment. He loves us so much that he wants the best for us. He wants to have everything that we can ever need. And that is why we need to pray and have a relationship with him so that we can seek him and know where it is he wants us to be so that our wants line up with his wants. And therefore, when it says give you the desires of your heart, that means you can have the desires of your heart, but those desires need to line up with God's will and God's provision and God's love and God's protection and his overall purpose and plan for your life. If you want $1 million mansion, but that's not lining up with where he has you at right now, he's not going to bless you with that. Now, that's not to say you go ahead and decide to do it and then it's fraught with issues and problems and concerns. We sometimes make decisions that put ourselves in a pickle and we don't get it. And then we come crying back to God. And you know what? He's so loving. And he, is just like that father. He will reprimand us. He'll chastise us. He'll correct us. And he'll love us all, continue to still love us. And then what we do is we have to work back and start over and get to the point where we can receive fully the blessing that he has for us. So again, don't mix up that he's his protection for punishment. That is definitely not what he wants to happen. And as long as you understand that, you will go so far. Read Isaiah 54:17. Read Isaiah 54 completely. I love that chapter. But, we always get it mixed up when he says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. What it's saying, it didn't say that it wouldn't be formed. It said it wouldn't prosper. So that means when you're lined up with him, he's looking at all those little weapons, everything that's going forward, and he's stopping them in the process because they're going to be formed. But if you line up with what he needs for you, they will not prosper. Thank you so much for listening to Nuggets of Joy on Moving Past You. Be sure to visit the Moving Past You group on Facebook, and where you can join the conversation, access show notes, and get fantastic bonus content. And you can also pull up Nuggets of Wisdom on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Google as well. And as always, I like to leave you with this thought. Always be kind in your word, your thought, and in your deed. Be blessed, and we'll speak with you soon.